All right, what's up out there to all of my fellow gold diggers? This is your girl Rita, also known as the self-proclaimed gold digger. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I am so glad to have you. But if you are a fellow gold digger, welcome back. Y'all know I love and I appreciate each and every one of you. Tonight is Tipsy Tuesday, and we are going to be talking about the traits that you need to have if you want to be an entrepreneur or business owner. Okay, so this is going to be really good. I'm going to be sharing some stuff that I had to develop myself in order for me to be successful in business. Okay, before we get started, y'all, let me just do a quick social media check just to make sure everything is good on all of my various platforms and everything. And then we are going to go ahead and get started and get into it. So I am checking here, making sure we are good. And it looks like we are good there. And let me check one other place and make sure we are good. Let's see. Okay, and it looks like I am good there as well. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and jump into the traits that you need as an entrepreneur. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. So let me give you I have a couple of church announcements. Also, if you are new to Tipsy Tuesday, basically what we do on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I come on, I share some tips with you as we take some sips. Okay, so all I'm sipping on tonight is just some water. You can sip on whatever you choose to drink. Okay, so that's all we're doing. And tonight's topic is just talking about the traits you need to have in order to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. All right, couple of church announcements that I am really I have one church announcement that I am really excited about. All right, so y'all, I want to say thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. On last week, I shared with you guys that I was trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. And guess what? Your girl has hit her goal. And that is all thanks to you. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the new people who have subscribed to my channel. I hope you love it here. Thank you to all my ride or die people who have been rocking with me for a while. Y'all know I love and appreciate each and every one of you. But thank you so much for helping me reach my goal of getting to 4,000 subscribers. Okay, so that was the church announcement that I wanted to share. I probably will do an official video thanking everyone and all that kind of stuff for helping me reach my goal. All right, now we have a Tipsy Tuesday theme song, so I'm going to go ahead and do the Tipsy Tuesday song, and then after that we jumping into tonight's topic. Okay, here we go. Tipsy Tuesday, Tipsy Tuesday, Tipsy Tuesday, get your tips and pass the due. Say Tipsy Tuesday. So once you hear that song, that is your official welcome and introduction to Tipsy Tuesday. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. So there is a lot of talk about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has been glamorized. It's like the hot thing for people to do, become a business owner, that kind of thing. But I will say this, entrepreneurship, it is not for the weak, the faint of heart, or anything like that. And if you are interested in getting into entrepreneurship or becoming a business owner, because you think it's something that's just cute or something that is cool or, something that looks like it's fun to do, you are getting into it for the wrong reasons. Okay. And although entrepreneurship, it can be cute, it can be cool, that kind of thing, that is not all that it is. Okay, there are so many more aspects to entrepreneurship and business ownership that they do not post about on Instagram, that they are not going to be talking about at the cookout and all this kind of stuff. Okay, it is so much stuff. It is so much, I won't say behind the scenes, but it's some people might have some PTSD from being an entrepreneur and business owner. Okay, so just know, if you decide to do that, I highly encourage you, if that is your goal, if that is your dream. But please believe it is going to be a roller coaster ride, and it does require a lot of you, and it required a lot of me. So these traits that I'm going to be sharing with you are things that I had to learn or develop. I did not have all of these, traits or characteristics initially. And a lot of them I had to learn if I was going to be able to survive entrepreneurship. Okay. I've shared with y'all my story with entrepreneurship, but I'll give y'all a little bit of a background. So I always talk about, I have my own office, my own business, where I see patients and that kind of thing. But y'all, believe it or not, that office is my third venture into entrepreneurship. So right out of school, I won't say right out of school, but maybe 2 or 3 years out of school, I kind of dipped my toe into entrepreneurship and worked where I was considered like an independent contractor at a particular location. Y'all, that did not work out for me at all. And I will say that it was a small taste of entrepreneurship, but it didn't work out for me just because of there, I won't say a conflict of interest, but there was another person involved and we just could not see eye to eye. So I didn't have total autonomy over that particular situation, so to speak. So I only lasted there about 6 months before I like cut my losses and was like, this is not going to be a good fit for me. And so I left it at that. Then let's see, fast forward maybe 3 years or so. Actually, y'all, I said this was my third venture into entrepreneurship with me finally opening my office. Y'all, actually, it's my fourth. It was my fourth. Okay. So it was my fourth. So basically, if you don't know, I'm an optometrist. I'm an eye doctor or whatever. And so, and I do a lot of different side hustles or I used to do a lot of different side hustles. I do a side hustle mainly as a notary. I also used to do side hustling as a mystery shopper. So my entrepreneurship journey, I'm not so much talking about the notary work or mystery shopping. It's more so with my main job. So yeah, now that I think about it, me having my office is actually my fourth venture into quote unquote entrepreneurship. And the ways that I dipped my toe into entrepreneurship, like with that first position and with the next two positions, is usually in some states, as an optometrist, you can just kind of like lease a space out of a big corporate place and you can see patients there. So the corporate location, they pretty much take in any optical sales, like if they sell glasses, they sell contacts, that kind of thing. They make money off of those sales, but you make your money off of you seeing patients for the exams, and you're just like leasing the space where they provide you with the equipment. Sometimes they'll provide you with the staff that you would need for a fee, or you can bring in your own staff. So that was pretty much what I was doing. So the first space didn't work out because there was another doctor also in that same space, and like we could not see eye to eye on some things in regards to like pricing and that kind of thing, even though we were both kind of independent or whatever. So only lasted 6 months there. Then a few years later, I went to another corporate location and set up shop there. They were okay. Now, mind you, with this particular location, like I said, I see the exams. That's what I get paid for. They were collecting my fees in their POS system, and then they would send me a check or whatever, like once a month or whatever, for what I had brought in. They were notoriously late with getting my check. Like I was not getting paid in a timely manner or fashion. The equipment there was also very old and outdated. So I don't know. It was like, I like the people that I was working with or whatever. And I was like, I won't say recommended, but our industry is so small. So someone I had knew was there. But anyway, so I don't know. I might have lasted there maybe a year, maybe a little bit longer than a year. Who knows? I can't remember. It was a brief stint, but it was definitely longer than my first 6 months. And then finally I was at another corporate location there. I was probably there about 4 or 5 years or whatever. Still, I love the people who were there and everything like that. But and even while I was there, that is when I opened up my own office. Okay. So I tested out some stuff in each of those times, those corporate locations. Like I was in charge of getting my income. And so I was, totally reliant on that as my source of income from those particular businesses or establishments and stuff like that. It was a lower risk just because I was just leasing the space, leasing equipment. Well, with the space came the equipment. So I wasn't like putting all of my money into it or anything like that to get the equipment. I just paid them a fee, collected my fee from my exams, and went on about living my life. Okay. And so for the most part, it was a very good relationship. Like I said, I was there. And while I was there, that is how I opened up my own office and everything too. And that is when I was introduced to the real deal entrepreneurship. The other stuff, that was just for play. That literally was just for play because I was not ready for the stuff that I encountered. All right, let's see. I have a few comments. So let me look at these really, really quickly. And then I'm going to share real quick about what happened with my, with my current position. And then we're going to talk about these traits I had to develop. What's up, Belford? I haven't seen you in a while. It's so good to see you. He says, sis, you are looking amazing. Thank you. He says, Big Brother's done traveling for a while. Awesome. I am glad to have you back. Still Rock says, we in here, good to see you, Still Rocks. And then Belford said, first, let's not just skip over. I'm an optometrist or whatever. I don't like to brag. I'm just a regular girl, for real. I'm not gonna let you do that, but I appreciate it. I know, but y'all, I'm not. That's the topic for another day. I'm not always big on titles and stuff like that. Like, I know the title, it does have value, and I know I put in a whole lot of work to obtain the title, and I'm very appreciative of the title. But I will tell y'all, the title does not define me. I'm a regular person, and there are so many things besides being an optometrist. But I totally get what you're saying, Belfer, and I appreciate it. I receive it, and I need to do better at receiving that and appreciating the journey that I've been on. All right, so real quick, y'all, because I see right now I'm already talking a little bit too long, and I still got to get into y'all. I ain't gonna tell y'all how many traits I have, but I have a lot. It's probably gonna be a part 2. But anyway, so real quick, when I got into opening my own office, so I was still working at my last location or whatever, because I had to have something to supplement income, because y'all, I was really not making I was not making money from my business for a long time. And when I say not making money, like I could not pay myself in my business. But even starting off, there were like construction issues when it came to the building. Like my open date kept getting pushed back and stuff like that, because the contractors that I had, they didn't know what they were doing, to be honest with you. This was like their first, I found out later, like this was their first kind of like big commercial job that they did. And basically I had a space, and I had like two spaces that I converted into one. So they had to, get it set up the way I wanted to. And so they weren't getting permitting. It was like just so many delays and materials and all that kind of stuff. And they came recommended from my landlord of the building. So I thought they were legit. And I had gotten other bids and quotes and stuff like that. But since they came recommended, I kind of went with them because I was like, the landlord knows them or whatever. But anyway, it was a big ordeal when it came to that. So my because of the construction delays, I had brought my staff on because I had given them a certain day that I thought that we would be open, and we could not be open because we didn't have a certificate of occupancy from the city to let us, be bringing people in. So for the first 6 weeks, I had to pay my employees out of my pocket because there was no way for me to see patients. Okay. And then, so 6 weeks, I'm pulling from my, my savings and stuff. Thankfully, I had savings. Side note, if you do start a business, make sure you have an abundance of savings, okay? Because even what I thought was a lot was not was not enough. It was not enough. So whatever you think is a good number to have in savings, and it just depends on the scale and the magnitude of your business. Whatever you think that number is, double it, possibly even triple it. Okay. Just to prepare yourself for what you might need. So, but anyway, so the first 6 weeks I'm paying them out of my own pocket, but I'm thinking once I open, things will get better. But like I said, the deadline to open got pushed back. Once we finally opened, it was, I was not seeing patients like I thought I was gonna be seeing patients. Okay. It was a drip, very slow process. And only so I myself could not pay myself in the business. And for the first 3 years, I was still working at my other location in order to pay my bills. And finally, I left that other location because there were some things I wanted to do, and the upper management and I did not see eye to eye when it came to that. So I gave up my lease and ended up walking away from that particular position. And y'all, that was like I want to say that was like I had finished my last day working was like in May of 2019. So like from June of 2019, I was like on my own. Like the business was the only thing, like my main business was the only thing that could bring me income. And I was not paying myself. Like occasionally I would take what's called like an owner's draw from the business or whatever to kind of help with the bills. But literally it was like savings and stuff that, I was using to support my lifestyle. And it wasn't until January 2021, y'all. And honestly, y'all, ain't nobody but God. Cause I look back and I'm like, Lord, how did I survive? I honestly do not know how I survived. Cause like I said, I remember taking owner's draws here and there, but it's like I didn't take it often because I still needed to pay the bills of the business. But it wasn't until 2021 that I was actually able to pay myself consistently. Like I'm on payroll and, I get paid when everybody else gets paid or whatever. So it's only been like, what is it? Like 3 years that I've been able to pay myself in my business, and the business still sustain itself and still be able to stay afloat, and me still being able to pay my employees and stuff like that. So I have come a long way. Now, is my salary where I would like it to be? No, it's not. So we still hoping and believing and trusting God to be able to do that. But I would much rather take a lower salary right now to make sure my business is still gaining momentum and growing in the direction that I want it to go. And eventually, it'll pay off in the long run and everything like that. So yeah, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I am definitely in a good I won't say stable place, because entrepreneurship and business ownership, in my opinion, there's nothing stable about it. So if you need stability, this is not what you want. This is not what you want. Okay. But let me pull up my notes on my phone where I have listed the traits that I had to develop as an entrepreneur. Okay. And let me take a sip. And then I'm also going to see, let's see. Belfort has a comment. Let me make sure I got all my stuff. And entrepreneurship, y'all, is not for everyone. Okay. It's definitely not for everyone. So like I said, you have to decide for yourself if that is something that you want to get into. But because it's not really stable. Like eventually, once you get your business going, yes, there is some stability. There is some semblance of stability, but it's definitely a roller coaster ride. Belfort says, I have nothing but the highest level of respect for entrepreneurs. I realized it wasn't for me and not as easy as I thought it would be. Yes, they glamorize it on, Instagram and social media, and they make it look all cute and all, but you really have to have a stomach for this. All right, and let me see. This is from my hubby. He says, sometimes you have to let go in order to grow. The pressure will make you or break you. Look at you now. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. It is a lot of pressure. And when I had left that position, y'all, I'm big on like integrity and the principle of the matter and all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of like what I left on. I left the other company because, like I said, we were not seeing eye to eye. But I stand on my business. I'll stand on my integrity. I'm like, it's the principle of the matter. Like, I don't care. It's the principle of it. I will stand on that. And I had to stand on that knowing I had no income coming in other than from the business, which was just barely sustaining itself. And then y'all, so what happened too? So we were just starting, because we had been open maybe like 3 years by then. So it was probably like when I left, because I opened my business in May of 26. Like I finally was able to see my first patient on May 1st of 2016. And like I said, I left my other job in like mid-May or something like that of 2019. So we were just starting to get some traction. And I think me letting that go, I was really, really focused. I was even more focused, like laser focused on my business. And so like that last quarter of 2019, we were really starting to see growth in the business. And then that first quarter of 2020, it was like awesome, y'all. But then y'all know COVID came and I was like, good God almighty, like what the heck? Like we were just starting to grow and you like really do well and stuff like that. And then we had to shut down for COVID and we were closed for over like 2.5, we were closed for like 2.5 months and we didn't reopen until June 1st. But thankfully when we did reopen, we did well. But I can only imagine, you know, if we still had that momentum that was building up from 2019. So yeah, sometimes when you let stuff go, it does help you to grow. And when your back is against the wall and it's just, I gotta do it or I gotta do it, you just stay focused. And I think that's what I kind of needed at the time, to just kind of like hone in and focus on the business and put my efforts into making it grow. But anyway, all right, let's get into some of these traits that you need to possess or need to develop. Because like I said, I did not have all of these traits when I first started. And even some of these traits I am still working on. I am still learning. I'm still constantly developing because it's a constant process. It's a constant learning process. But these are not in any particular order, but they did come to me. These came to me like over this past week or whatever, of what I had. And so the first thing I wrote down as a business owner or entrepreneur that you should have is self-awareness. That is so important. I have learned to be so much more self-aware of who I am, just from being an entrepreneur and business owner. And when I say self-aware, I'm aware of my strengths. I'm very keen on what my strengths are. I'm also very keen on what my weaknesses are. So it makes you really take inventory of the things that you do really well, or it helps to open up your eyes so you can see the things that you do really, really well, as well as the things that you don't do as well in and that you need to improve on. So I am big on being making sure that I stay self-aware, like looking at ways that I can improve, looking at ways where I've struggled, looking at ways where I've excelled. And it's all because that self-awareness is key, because if there is something that I'm struggling with, if there is something that I don't do well in, I need to take notice of that, because so I don't keep repeating it. And so I don't keep doing it over and over, because if I do, my business suffers. But also too, the things that I am doing well, or things that really benefit me or really help me to grow and help me to develop, I need to also take inventory of those things so I can replicate them and keep doing them over and over so that I can continue to be successful. So I am really big on being self-aware. So even when I make a mistake, even my failures, anything that, doesn't turn out the way I want it to be, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with people, and I tell my staff this all the time. I am so okay with taking criticism too, as I become more self-aware. So if someone says like, hey, this is what is going on, or, or they had to wait a long time in order to see us or whatever, I'm very self-aware of, okay, yes, their complaint. Well, first, I'm going to see if their complaint is valid. If the complaint is valid, then I am using my eye to assess, like if it was like about a wait time or something, they had to wait. I am keen on seeing, okay, what happened that caused the delay, that made them wait? What did we do on our end that we need to change or correct, and that kind of thing. So I'm very self-aware. So I'm good on criticism. Like people, that's what I say, you will develop some tough skin as an entrepreneur, because I really appreciate when people tell me stuff, whether when it's bad, and like I said, and it's valid, because you ain't just gonna be saying any and everything about me. But if it's bad and it's a valid complaint, I welcome it, because that tells me that is the area that you need to improve in. Like they're literally pointing out the area that you need help in. Like it's pointing out the area where you can further develop in. So I'm so appreciative of people like that, because there are plenty of people where you might be weaker in, or they might have an issue with you and they won't speak on it, or they won't say anything. So the people who speak up and say something and offer criticism, and and I'm okay with, in the way they, like, I would appreciate if they say it in a nice way, but even if they don't say it in a nice way, as long as it's valid criticism, I'm appreciative of it. So self-awareness is very, very important. And with that being said, with you being self-aware, if you cannot take criticism, whether it's regular criticism, like somebody saying something to you in a nasty way, but it's a valid reason, as well as constructive criticism when someone says it in a, a nicer way. If you are a person who cannot take criticism, you are going to have a hard time growing and developing, and just being more in tune with the things that you need to work on. So I'm big on self-awareness and seeing what are my areas of weakness, what are my areas of strength. And this is big too, because people will attack you and attack your character sometimes. But when you are self-assured of who you are, and who you are and what you are, and like what your strengths are, you'll know when stuff is bogus. When people are just saying stuff or doing stuff to possibly like just push your buttons, because I'm very aware of all of my negative qualities. Okay. I'm very much aware. And I know when I won't say using my negative qualities, but I know when they might surface or something like that, whether it's, okay, I took a long time, or, I was being short with somebody, or, I was being selfish, or whatever it is. And this is in business as well as in regular life. I'm very self-aware of the issues or negative traits that I have. And when people say something about it, I listen to see, is it a valid complaint, or are they just, trying to get me riled up or whatever. But I have learned and I have grown since then as well, by just being self-aware. So that was the first one that I had. The second thing that you need to have, this is key, y'all. This is so doggone important, is mental stability or mental fortitude. You have to have a strong mind and a strong mental state. And that's not to say if you suffer from any mental illness or something like that, that you shouldn't be an entrepreneur or anything like that. But if you do suffer from that, just know, opening up a business or something like that, it can definitely heighten it or aggravate that. And you want to make sure you are surrounding yourself with the appropriate support system for when that happens. Okay. So you have to have strong mental fortitude. And I meant to look up the statistics before I had got on or whatever, the statistics for how many small businesses fail within like the first year or first 2 years, as well as the first 5 years and that kind of stuff. But the percentages are high. But also too, looking at the percentage of how opening up your own business affects your mental health as well. There are statistics about that. And it's in front of our face of what's going on, but I won't say it's been glamorized as well, but we don't always see it as that. So when I say have strong mental stability, I'm just going to use Tyler Perry as an example. Tyler Perry, he is, a phenomenal individual. He has accomplished so much. And, now he has his own, Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, where it used to be old Confederate military base and that kind of stuff. He's come a long way. But if you know his story, he was homeless. Like, he was sleeping in his car, but those things occurred because he was going after his dream. He was going after something that he had believed in, and being homeless, like not having a place to stay and that kind of thing, and still being dedicated and focused and relentless at what you are in pursuit of. That's what I'm talking about. That's the mental toll that this can take. Like, because literally entrepreneurship can wipe your savings out, wipe your income out, where you cannot afford to pay your bills and you yourself might be homeless. And like, there are other people who are successful. Steve Harvey, the same thing, happened to him. I won't say happened to him, but or whatever. But he did not have, a place to stay. Like, these stories, like we hear these stories over and over, and you just have to think about the mental state that these people have to be in, or the mental state these people were in or went through and had to overcome in order to continue on and still be successful. Tiffany Haddish has a similar story where she was, homeless and stuff like that. And then, she had her breakthrough and, she's now successful and stuff. So we hear these stories. We hear about what these people have went through, but I think we're looking at it through a lens like, oh my gosh, that is such a wonderful story of how she triumphed over all these obstacles, or he triumphed over all these obstacles, and now they are so successful. But really, like the saying says, success leaves clues and stuff like that. This is a clue. This is clue you in. Pursuing your dream, going after entrepreneurship, business ownership, it's going to be a rough and rocky road. And hopefully you'll get on the other side where we can say, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful story that you triumphed over this. But you might be going through the fire before you get to that point. Okay. So that is why you have to have good mental stability, good mental fortitude, because what if everything you had got wiped away? And when I say wiped away, maybe you don't lose your house, but maybe you, like with me, pretty much I had my savings and I drained all of my savings trying to support my business. Pretty much had to build my savings back up from nothing. And it's like, oh, she was able to build up her savings back after it was wiped out. That's so wonderful or whatever. But when it happened, that ish was not wonderful. Okay. It was not wonderful. It was not a wonderful process. Okay. And trying to navigate life while experiencing that, it was not a wonderful process. It was not always, sunshine and rainbows and stuff like that. So you hear people saying that, and I've told you before, I've shared it with you, like, yeah, I had to build up my, savings. I had to use up my savings for my business. And we say it, but I don't think we realize, as you're hearing it, or as you're hearing us saying it, or as you're listening to us saying it, what does that actually mean? Like, what does that actually mean? What did she actually have to go through when that happened? So you got to have a good mindset to stay focused and not go crazy and, lose your mind in the process of you dealing with all of this stuff and navigating through all these different things. So, and I'm not saying any of this stuff to deter anyone from entrepreneurship or business ownership, but it's more so to prepare you for what you might expect. And if this is not your story, if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, and this is not your story, then I am ecstatic for you. I'm legit happy for you that you didn't have to suffer through all of this stuff. But if you talk to successful entrepreneurs and business owners, all of our stories are, they're similar. They are similar. Like, it has some kind of theme of where we've lost it all or lost something and had to rebuild from quote unquote nothing in order to get to the place where we are. Okay. So all the stories have a similar theme to them, unless you just came from, old money or where stuff was given to you from like your fathers or mother or whatever, someone in your family or whatever. But these entrepreneurs who did not have anybody helping to back them, our stories have a very similar thread of losing stuff, losing it all, losing money, and having to rebound and bounce back and build and become better. Okay. Now, that was the second one. The third one, character trait that you need to have as an entrepreneur is extremely high self-confidence or belief in yourself, as well as in your product or service and the mission of your business. So you have to have very, 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 very high confidence in yourself. The reason I say that is because so many people will discount your dream. They will doubt your vision. They will have negative things to say. And some of the stuff they say might be valid. And if they say, why don't you keep this good, corporate job? Why are you trying to go off on your own and that kind of stuff and do stuff? And that might be a valid, they might have valid reasoning, because that good corporate job, like I said, it does offer stability. It does offer a steady paycheck. It does offer you benefits for the most part, as long as they like you and you're doing your job and they're not having to fire you for reasons where you didn't do your job, or they're not having any layoffs or downsizing or anything like that. It can be considered stable. Okay. So people who are saying, why don't you just stay at this job and make some good money so you can retire? That very well might be a valid reason. So you have to have such high confidence in yourself and what you're doing and the vision that you have, that you stay the course and you are not deterred by anyone who says, like, maybe you shouldn't do that or whatever, because you have to have that strong purpose in order to navigate through these treacherous waters that are entrepreneurship and business ownership, because otherwise you will quickly get swept under and can drown. So having a high self-confidence about yourself, and like I said, self-confidence, confidence in self, not somebody else telling you anything, not somebody else being in your ear telling you that you're this person, that person, or boosting you up. Because here's the thing. If you are so reliant on someone else telling you, oh, you are so awesome, you are so amazing, you are so wonderful, you are so smart, when those people stop saying those things, then you stop believing those things. Okay. You need to be saying those things to yourself and believing it for yourself. And that's why I mentioned about y'all doing affirmations, like affirm yourself. Don't allow other people to affirm you, because if you can believe the positive things they say, when they flip the script and start saying negative things, guess what? You don't put so much validation in what they've been saying in the positive stuff, that when they start saying the negative stuff, you'll start believing it too. So you need to be the one in charge of telling yourself what you believe about yourself, what you believe is true about yourself. Okay. So you have to have high self-confidence in yourself. And also, I mentioned self-confidence in yourself as well as in the product or service that you provide. Because if you don't believe in that product or service, how are you going to have someone else believe in that product or service, or the mission that you are trying to fulfill? And when I say mission, because once you have employees and stuff, if they don't feel like you believe in the mission and the vision for your company, they are less likely to follow suit and be, committed to fulfilling the things that you want to see in your business. Okay. I hope this is all making sense. I'm hoping this is all helpful to y'all. Okay. So let's see. Let me see if I have any other comments too, real quick. And if y'all want to, and if there are, like I said, I have a lot of traits. Okay. So no comments, but yeah. I have a lot of traits, and I know this is going to be a part 2, because I'm going to try to get through. I'm going to try and get to like 10, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So the next thing that I have down is, if you are going to be an entrepreneur or business owner, one of the things you need to have, character traits that you need to have, or things you need to be willing to do, is you need to be willing to lose friends. And what I mean by that is usually if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, and I'm speaking more so about myself, but typically if you are somebody who is like true entrepreneur, like you're just piddle paddling in or whatever, or trying out, but you are passionate about this thing, you are dedicated to this thing, you're dedicated to seeing this thing succeed. So sometimes you need to be willing to lose friends, because you can be a hard person to be around. The reason why you could be a hard person to be around is because usually you set the standard pretty high for yourself, and because you have high standards, you also require that the people that are around you to have high standards as well. So just know you might lose some friends, because everybody is not operating at that level of excellence that you have set for yourself. Like, you want the best for yourself, and you also are expecting the best of your circle of friends, family as well. Like, so you don't understand why so and so, they are really skilled at this and are really talented at that, and they are not going as hard for themselves as you think they should be. Okay, so you can be a hard person to be around, and people might not even want to be around you because because of the fact that you might be challenging them. And when I say challenging them, I mean like challenging them to be their greater and higher self, and they might not be ready to be that particular person, because they are content or comfortable with just being, I hate to say, like mediocre or just being average or whatever. They are content with that. Like, that's, and some people are. It's like, my bills are paid. My family is good. I know I could be doing more, but what's the point of me doing more when, life is good or whatever? But you like, girl, you could be doing this. You are so talented with that. And you know how many people would pay to get this from you? And they just like, I don't want to do it. I'm not interested or whatever. So you can be a hard person to be around if your friends and family feel like you are I won't say constantly, but you're challenging them with those kinds of expectations. And it's probably a little bit, like I said, it goes back to my first thing, being self-aware. The fact that I'm aware that I am not everybody's cup of tea. Like, I'm, everybody is not going to want to be around me, because yes, I will challenge you to be your best self. And sometimes you seeing me operating as my best self might make you not feel so good about yourself, because you could be doing better. So I get it. I'm cool with it. I'm all right with it. I know it's not, I won't say it's not anything against me, but I get it. Like, maybe I wouldn't want to be around me either if I was just trying to be average and you see me being amazing. I mean, I don't know. Like, and this is not me trying to be, mean or rude or anything like that. But some people, yes, some people just, they don't want to see themselves in that way. And you reminding them that this is the way they are can make it hard for you to be around. Now, I know for me personally too, like, I can get along with anybody. I can hang around with just about anybody, but only for a certain period of time. Like, if all we're having is shallow and superficial conversations, that is going to get really old with me really, really quick. And yeah, maybe we can meet up or link up, every now and then, but I'm not going to be doing it on a regular basis if our conversations don't have depth or substance to it. So in regards to like friendships and stuff like that, the friendship is probably not going to last or sustain, because all we do is talk about superficial stuff, and that's not enough. That's not enough for me to be able to maintain the friendship, okay, or maintain the relationship. Like, I need to be able to connect to you on a deeper level. I want to be talking about, okay, what's your plans, what's your goals, what do you have set out? Not celebrity gossip, not who's doing this or what happened to our other friend or whatever. I'm not about spilling the tea, being messy. So if that is all you have to offer me, or that's the only conversation that you have that you find stimulating, then I'm not going to be a good friend to you, because I'm not going to be entertaining those types of conversations with you. And then, the times that we hang out or talk and that kind of stuff is just going to get less and less. Or if we do talk, it's going to be very brief on the phone or whatever, because I I can't entertain shallow conversations. Like, give me some substance, give me some depth. Let me know. Tell me about the newest thing you discovered. Tell me about the latest book that you're reading and the lessons you learned from that. Those are the kind of conversations I need to be having with my friends and that kind of thing. And not, I mean, yes, we'll talk and kiki, but it's like, nah, I need some depth to it. So be willing to lose friends as well as family members, possibly too, just because, and they might be like, because you changed. And you know what? Guess what? I probably did. I probably did. And it's for the better. Okay. It's for the better. Maybe you should do the same. But I mean, I'm not gonna say that. But if they say you change, I'm like, you're probably right. I probably did change. Like, yeah. But once again, that self-awareness and that self-confidence, being self-assured in who you are and being okay with, I did change and I'm not that same person anymore. And yeah, we don't get along. We don't get along like we used to or whatever because of that. So yeah. So like I said, as you can see, entrepreneurship, like I said, it's not for the weak. It's not for the faint. It is going to challenge you in so many different ways that you might not even realize are like challenges for yourself. Okay. All right. The next thing that I have, the fifth trait that I have for you to possess if you are an entrepreneur, business owner, is that you should possess decisiveness. So you need to be decisive. And the reason I say that is because when it comes to business ownership or different things, there are going to be so many things that you have to make decisions upon in your business, and you have to be able to be decisive. Like, that's what I want, and stick to that thing that this is what, like, I've decided, and not, waffle back and forth. You can't be vacillating back and forth between, I don't know. You can't be polling Facebook to figure out what can I do or what should I do or that kind of thing. You have to be decisive. Now, there is a difference between being decisive and impulsive. Okay. There is a difference there. You can't be impulsive. Impulsiveness is not going to help. Is not going to help you to be successful in your business, but you do need to be decisive. And when you make that decision, stand behind your decision and not waver, and be committed to that decision. Okay. So you have to be decisive, take action when you need to take action, but don't be impulsive, because just acting just to be acting. When you make a decision, you've considered it, you've pondered about it, you considered your different options. Being impulsive means you just jumped at something and you did it in that moment. Okay. But being decisive, you used your wisdom, your knowledge to make the best decision possible at that particular place and time with the information that you had at that given moment. And oftentimes, and sometimes you have to be decisive and make those decisions without having all of the information, without knowing all the different pieces. But you have to be so going back to being like self-assured and self-aware. You have to be so self-assured, like you're okay with it. You're okay with making that decision. And with you being a business owner, entrepreneur, when you are being decisive like that, if it doesn't work out, you have to be okay with taking ownership with the fact, like, hey, it didn't work out. I made that call. It was a bad call or whatever. I thought it was going to go one way. It didn't go the way I thought. That was on me. Let's see how we can pivot or change or make adjustments and move forward next. And that's why I say self-awareness is key. That is, if anything, that is I won't say strongest character trait, but that is one of the most important things that I have learned as an entrepreneur and business owner, is just my self-awareness, being self-aware of what my strengths and my weaknesses are and everything. All right. Let's see. I see I have a comment real quick. Belford says, my entrepreneur friends and family are always pushing other friends to do more. They for sure lost friends. Yes, we can be kind of, we are pushy because we are just like, so here's the thing. All right. I will say this. Yes, I am ambitious. I'm ambitious, but as an entrepreneur too, this is another character trait that we haven't got to. I am very, I want to say creative, or I don't know what's the word, kind of inquisitive. And I think that's one of the next character traits I have coming up. I'm very inquisitive, so I'm always challenging how you view stuff, or I won't say always, because in certain things, with certain things I will challenge how it's being viewed or how it's used, or how can we use it in a different way. Or like, I constantly have ideas. Like, if you have an issue or something like that, you're trying to figure out something, I can probably give you, 5 different ways for you to be able to pursue after it or whatever, or for you to get around it and that kind of thing. Like, I will come up with some creative ideas. And that is one of our downfalls as entrepreneurs and business owners and stuff like that, is because we can see things from so many different angles, or see how you might pursue things from so many different angles. It's like we will want to pursue different things and not be focused on what we really need to focus on, because we have like so many different ideas that we know we can like we know we can turn into business opportunities, but we can't do all the things. So you have to really hone in and focus. So when we see someone else, like, oh, they have this, I won't say business, but they might have this idea, we can tell. Like, I know for me, I can give you your 6-month plan, your 1-year plan. Then once you start doing this is what you should do next, and that kind of, like, I can give you a whole map and be like, hey, this is what you need to do. Just run the play and you're gonna be good, or whatever. So, and then I don't know, maybe it's overwhelming and too much. It probably is for people. But Belfort was saying they for sure lost friends. They hold on to great friends who have said no, but I am so happy to celebrate with you. Yeah, we can be pushing. And I'm the type of person too, like, I can see potential in people, which is also a downfall, because oftentimes people don't see the potential in themselves and stuff like that. Like, I can see you achieving so much more. Now, I would say I'm pretty intuitive as well. So I see the people who have potential, but also I see the people too that it's like, they might, and I'm not a dream killer. I don't try to be a dream killer for anybody, but I can also see the people who might have a vision, and it's like, baby, the way you operating right now, that I know that's what you want, but that's probably not going to come to fruition. But even with those kind of people, I'll try and give them an alternative, right? Like, hey, why don't you possibly try this or pursue that? But yeah, I can see the potential in people, and I'm pretty intuitive with that. And I can also see, I won't say lack of potential, I don't know what the opposite is or whatever. I can see where things might not work out for certain people as well. All right, let's see. April said, what's up, April? Good to see you. I'm glad you were able to join. She says, hello, all. And then she also says, I stopped pushing others because 98% of the time they have 4% interest in seeing it through. Yes, and that is usually the case. Like, a lot of people, they don't see, like I said, they don't see the potential that you see in them. Also, too, they're, like I say, they're not always looking at it from the same lens that someone who is an entrepreneur or business owner, or someone who just has high ambition, kind of views things, so to speak. So yeah, it can be frustrating when dealing with people like that. All right. Next up, we talked about decisiveness, impulsiveness. The 6 traits, and I kind of mentioned that, is inquisitiveness. So stay inquisitive, stay asking questions. And that's usually how we are when it comes to something. It's like, well, how can we do it this way? Why can't we do it that way? What happens if we do this, and that kind of stuff? Stay inquisitive. As children, like young children, if you ever been around somebody who's 2 or 3, they're going to ask you, like, why? Like, you tell them to do something, they're going to be like, why? Because that's what we're supposed to do. But why? Because if we don't do it that way, then we'll get in trouble. But why? They keep asking why. And as entrepreneurs, oftentimes that's kind of how we look at stuff. It's like, we'll ask why. Okay, so we got this product or service, but what happens if we package it this way? Or what happens if we give it to this person this way? Or what happens if we add this to it, and that kind of stuff? So we are constantly being inquisitive and trying to figure out stuff and gain knowledge or at least I know I am, about our areas of interest, because I am not that way. I am not that way about everything. So when something interests me, or something I feel like something can benefit me or my business, I am inquisitive in how I can enhance this, make it better, how I can apply it in my everyday life, in my everyday business, how it could possibly help my employees, that kind of thing. I'm staying inquisitive, I'm staying asking questions, because I know the more knowledge I get, the more it's to benefit me and my business. Now, there is something like information overload, and oftentimes too we have that because we have so many different sources of information and resources at our fingertips that can get to be overwhelming. But also, just being able to know how to filter through some of that, I won't say the noise, but kind of filter and hone in on the things that you really need. And sometimes, even though it is a lot of information, sometimes filtering through all that stuff, it also helps you see what you don't need and really, concentrate on the things that you do need. But you don't even realize, oh, I didn't even need this or whatever, if you didn't like go through the process of sorting through all of that stuff. All right, the seventh trait, and y'all, I'm really trying to make it 10 tonight, and I'll probably do a part 2 of it to give you the rest of them. The seventh trait I had to develop as a business owner, entrepreneur, and this is one I really had to develop, is to become a rule breaker or become an innovator. Y'all, I used to be the kind of person that I would always follow the rules. Like, I never got in trouble in school. I'm always doing the right thing, that kind of stuff. But I learned, if you're going to be a business owner, entrepreneur, you got to be a rule breaker. Now, I'm not talking about, breaking laws or anything like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about getting in trouble. But I have learned, what's the saying? It's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. And that has been my motto. And unfortunately, I won't say unfortunately or unfortunately, that is also what I've been teaching my kids when it comes to certain things, because it is a delicate balance. If it's something that you're passionate about, and it's not, it's not wrong, it's not something that's endangering you, it's just different from the status quo of doing something or how everybody else tends to do something, try it, do it. Why I gotta ask for permission to do it this way just because everybody else is doing it that way? So I have learned to be a rule breaker and to do things the way I choose to do it, or how I see is going to be best for me. And what is key, y'all, going back to the first thing I said, is that self-awareness, because you have to also be aware, like I said, you don't want to do anything that is going to be harmful, breaking the law or anything like that, or something that is just plain selfish and only for your own benefit. So I'm not talking about being a rule breaker in that sense, but just being a disruptor, being an innovator, being somebody who is just creating something new in your industry, new in your space, that kind of thing. That is how businesses succeed. That is how things are successful. Like, if you look at Uber and Lyft or whatever, they were innovators. And when it came to like getting rides and going from place to place, like everybody took a taxi or whatever all before, they came in and disrupted the whole doggone system of how that was even done. And now not only do we have, Uber and Lyft, we got Uber Eats and DoorDash and that kind of stuff. Even that, it's like the delivery, like before, most people who did delivery was like pizza places. Now we can get delivery from food, all different kinds of restaurants. They are rule breakers. They did not follow the status quo. They found a way, like, how can we do this different and it be beneficial to all parties involved? Like, it's beneficial to the customer who is receiving the food or receiving the ride or whatever, but it's also beneficial to those different workers who are doing that, because now that's an additional source of income for them as well. So be a rule breaker, be an innovator, find out a way to kind of positively disrupt the status quo for the advancement of all the people involved. And literally, that's what you have to do as an entrepreneur and business owner. I mean, even if you look at Elon Musk with all his stuff, all his stuff that he has going on, he was definitely a rule breaker. He is definitely an innovator, like with the electric vehicle and that kind of stuff. AI, that is a rule breaker. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, all of these people, they disrupted how we normally communicated, talk to people. Even Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, it disrupted our ways of, meeting people, communicating with people, that kind of thing. And that is what business owners, entrepreneurs, that is who we have to be. We have to be rule breakers. If you're just following the rules, if you're just going along to get along, that kind of thing, you're not, I won't say you're not going to survive, but you're not, I don't know. It's not typically what an entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur or business owner does. Okay. We tend to, and it's a lot of it has to do with going back to what I was saying about being inquisitive. We ask questions and start thinking outside of the box. And oftentimes, I always say I can learn from any industry. So I'm looking at, I love watching on the History Channel, like the Built America series, like the companies that built America, the food that built America, all that kind of stuff. I love seeing that, even though that has nothing to do with my business, but I like seeing how those different minds thought back then and how they disrupted the structure of the United States and how it kind of restructured the United States and how these companies thrived and survived and all that kind of stuff. I love hearing that. I love seeing that because it gives me a clue. It gives me an insight into how these people are thinking and navigating their spaces and how they were able to disrupt the systems back in their day and time. Okay. Let's see. I have a couple of comments too. And then y'all only made it to number 7. So since we are at like an hour, I'm probably going to wrap it up and I'll have to finish up everything later. Y'all let me know, was this good or was it good? So my hubby says, I am pushy because I'm excited to share a product or opportunity that may benefit someone else. Yes. We want other people to succeed and to do well and to, get the best out of stuff. And he also says, I give almost everyone a chance. If they say that they want it, I'll let their actions show me. Yeah. Well, yeah, some people will say they want it and they, like I said, they don't mean it, because like I said, some of this stuff, it sounds good. Entrepreneurship, business ownership, it's all been glamorized. So to say I'm an entrepreneur or whatever, it sounds cool, it sounds fun, it sounds like, that's what's trending. And you might want to slow your roll, because entrepreneurship is not all that it is cracked up to be. Okay. All right, April. Oh, thank you, April. April says it was great. All right. Well, I am glad to hear that. I'm going to do a quick recap of the 7 things I was able to cover so far, y'all. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might not be able to get through all of them because I don't want to be too long. But y'all, I have like 30 things. Yeah. I'm looking at my list. I have like 30 things that I was supposed to tell y'all about the traits that you need to have as an entrepreneur. But anyway, the first 7 that we were able to cover tonight, the first one I talked about, and y'all can see why this is a big one for me, is self-awareness. Just having that self-awareness about yourself, about what your strengths, what your weaknesses are. That is so important to me. And that has been, I won't say my saving grace, but that has been the strongest thing and the most valuable trait that I feel that I possess as a business owner, an entrepreneur, is just being self-aware and becoming more self-aware of what my strengths and what my weaknesses are, so I can adjust and adapt. The second thing I mentioned though was mental stability or mental fortitude. You have to have the right mindset, and you have to have that mental fortitude, because you are going to be attacked so much. Your mind is going to be attacked so much as an entrepreneur. And if you have, like I said, if you have mental illness or whatever, if you start a business, you definitely want to make sure you are surrounded by the best support system ever, because it will send it can send you, out of control. So you got to have good mental stability, mental fortitude. The third thing I mentioned was having extremely high self-confidence and belief in yourself, as well as high belief in your product, service, and the mission that of your business. So you got to have that. Number four was you need to be willing to lose friends and possibly family as an entrepreneur and business owner. The fifth thing was possessing decisiveness, being able to be decisive but not impulsive. Okay, y'all, we talked about there's a difference between being decisive and being impulsive. So you got to know the difference. You want to be decisive. And then the sixth thing was being inquisitive, always be willing to ask questions. And the seventh thing was to be a rule breaker, also known as an innovator. Do not accept the status quo if you feel there could be a better way. Okay. All right. Let's see real quick. I see you still rocks. He has the fire emojis and everything in the chat. I appreciate you. And April says 7 every every Tuesday till we get through all of it. I think y'all will get tired of them. I just need to talk faster. That's that's all. I gave y'all a backstory today too. So I'm just gonna talk faster, or not talk as much when it comes to the remaining ones, so that I can get through all of them and everything. But if you are interested in business business ownership or entrepreneurship, like I said, I hope this does encourage you. I don't want to discourage you, but I am not going to send you in here blindly for you to get what is it, like Ice Cube, no Vaseline. Like I'm not gonna send you out here for that to happen to you. Like I want you to go in eyes wide open, still hopeful, but prepared for what you might encounter. Okay. All right, so that is all I have for now. I will see y'all next Tuesday, and I will share the remaining character traits that I have as an entrepreneur. Take care, everyone.